Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Today, we are very lucky enough that we have a very special guest, Mr. N.K. Singh. So now I'm requesting Alif to introduce him.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Salih Hassan Alif, and it's my sheer privilege to introduce none other than Mr. N.K. Singh. Mr. NK is Senior Business Development Director in Uptime Institute and responsible for complete business of Uptime Institute in India and neighboring countries. He is a graduate in electrical engineering with over 28 plus years of experience across sectors and geographies in consulting, design, build, and management of ICT infrastructure, managed IT services, and data center facilities with 12 plus years in leadership positions. He is one of the known data center experts in India who has designed and implemented 100 plus data centers of different types and capacity in India and abroad with understanding of data center infrastructure in nuts and bolts level. Has been regular speaker in different events like DCD, Data Center by BE, CIO, DCtSUMMIT, DC Nepal Summit, CII Event, Healthcare Summit, Facility Management, IGBC Events, and other leadership events. Diversified skills and experience from engineering to IT domain, using innovative ways to design which reduces TCO, PUE, and enhance the credibility of data center. Worked with leading global organizations like IBM, Schneider, 3i Infotech, Relier Technologies, etc. NK has special interest in guiding customers across data center life cycle to align IT and facility for best business value. Dear all, that's all from him at a glance. My heartfelt warm welcome to Mr. NK Singh, and I would like to request our dear sir, Mr. Parvez, to continue the session. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you, Alif, for nice intro. So now I request Mr. N.K. Singh to share us his biography or journey of life with us. NK, is your turn now, so please start.
Thank you very much, Alif, and thanks a lot, Masood, for inviting me for this session. I'm really honored and proud to be part of this session, addressing or discussing my biography or my experience of life with so many people across in Bangladesh. So my life has been, Alif and Masood has given a complete detailed introduction of mine, so I don't have to talk more about myself. However, I would like to talk about Masood. So Masood is my good friend, not only professional but he's very good personal friend. I don't know what has happened. It is between heart-to-heart connectivity, and it is much beyond what we deal in normal day-to-day professional life or business. So when he requested me for this, even if it was a very short notice, but I thought of, I could not say no. And I said, yes, I would be part of it. And I would be pleased to share my details, my history with the audience. And if that experience can help inspire, help more people to do much better job, or help them enhancing their career, enhancing their lives, enhancing their happiness, that would be the great thing for me. What best other than which I can share this out of it. So before I get into my history or experiences, I would like to talk about Masood briefly, because yesterday when we were talking about this, MyCreative, I was zapped to see his idea. He's not only trying to do work for himself, spending more than 20 hours a day to do all these things successfully. At the same time, he's trying to help the people on the grassroots level to come up and take them to the mainstream. And this is something which is really attracted me and really touched me to get into this. And if I can be party of, or if I can be able to contribute a small fraction of it, I would be really obliged, honored, and proud for that. So, as far as my profession is concerned, uh, I had been in data center industry for more than 20 years. Most of the people may be knowing data center, may not be knowing data center. But the people who doesn't know data center on like layman's language, I can be able to explain. So when we talk about digital economy, digital infrastructure, or when we use our mobile phones, computers, internet, social media, so typically we generate data. So we look, we view data, we consume data, and we also generate data. And that data need to be processed, computed for valuable meaning, because unless and until data is analyzed, then once it is analyzed, then it becomes information which we can be able to use to our advantage. If not, then it is like a scrap. You can put it in the dustbin. So data center is nothing but it is an enclosed area where all the data are stored in a technological form. We call it IT-ware or ICT infrastructure. And that data center provides conducive environment to those IT equipments so that it runs continuously without any problem. Because if that doesn't work, then the continuity of, like you are watching a YouTube and we are having this Zoom session, if there is a problem in your data center, this entire session will get disrupted. So you can be able to imagine the criticality and importance of data center into the entire scheme of things. So I have been in this data center from nuts and bolts. It's like in my body, data center flows like a blood. So I think data center, I sleep data center, and I can talk about data center for days, months, and years together, non-stop. So I don't want to talk more about it because it will become a data center topic. Now coming back to my experience of my life, where I started. So I think I am around 50 plus, around 52 as of now. So I am also a person who has been born in 60s, 60s and 70s, right? So during that time, the situation was completely different. We didn't have the kind of technology we have today, and also the entire system, entire culture, entire social fabric was different. Secondly, I was also born in a village. I was not born in a city. I was born in a village. I have been brought up till middle school or till 7th class in the village itself. So I have experienced the life of village. Apart from doing the study, I remember very well we used to, at the time, we didn't have even electricity in our house. So we used to study under lantern or something we used to do or help in couple of daily course activity also at our home. And we used to go to school, come back. The only difference was I was not within top of the people in this school, but I was not also in the bottom line of the people. I was in the higher middle type of people in the class as far as performance is concerned. However, I was very dreamy. I used to dream a lot. And when I start dreaming about certain things, I used to dream about that subject always and always. I, while sleeping also, I get that kind of, dream in my sleep. And then that helps me actually act towards my dream and then achieve that particular dream, whatever I could able to realize. I'll give you example going forward on that. So after 7th class, I shifted to a city. My father used to work for engineering college in Rourkela, Odisha. So then he also realized that I should go and have a better study, or I should have a better I will not say better study, but exposure. I'll talk more about it. What is this education, exposure, and experience? But for exposure and better learning, I shifted to the city. And when I was in village, it was a completely unique language, which was Hindi. I was not knowing much about English, and when I went to city, everything was in English. And I was in 7th, and I admitted to class 8 in one of the English medium school. So I could able to understand because lectures were all in English. For me, English was like a single word. And then the 8th class, my challenge was I could able to understand somewhere the English, but narrating it or writing in English language was becoming a challenge. So 8th class result was not great. Even if I passed, but there was some not great mark in couple of subjects. So I realized that this way I'm not going in the right direction. So I discussed with my father, and then I admitted to another school in Hindi medium in class 9 when I got promoted. Within 1 year, you will not imagine because my subject knowledge and other things were clear, working towards it. When I gave the exam of 9th, I stood first in that class. You can imagine the confidence level of mine. And within the 1 year or 6 months, I learned Odia language. I had Hindi. I tried to improve on English language so that then I passed out matric. At the time, first division in matric was a very, very big achievement. So I could able to do, then move to +2, and then, so when I moved to +2, then my dream came that I want to be an engineer because my father was in engineering college, and that city produced a lot of engineers. The environment is like that. So everybody comes out and study in school. They want to study science. They want to get into the engineering profession. So similar way, I was not unlike about it. I also got inspired to take the engineering as a profession. And we used to have, even today, joint entrance examination to get admitted to the engineering colleges, because engineering colleges were very limited, and all those colleges were government engineering colleges, and this private engineering college was not there at the time. So I could not able to get through the entrance first time and second times, but I tried, and I could get in third time, got admitted, got this electrical, and that was the change in my life. And I talked about exposure, right? I was a very introvert guy, so talking on a specific subject or talking in public forum was very, very challenging. Actually, even if I knew something, I used to forget a lot of things when I start to talk about with the public. So then engineering college was a great experience. 4 years in hostel with my batchmates in different engineering, and that is the real 3D experience or three-dimensional experience I got of life, how to enjoy life, how to study at the same time, how to manage your time, how to be smarter. So it is hard way or soft way, but we learned a lot about life, because that is the first time when I came out of my home, about umbrella of my family, and then started living my own life with my colleague, with my classmates in engineering. And you will not believe it. Again, I am a very believer of understanding on the fundamentals. I am not believer of just getting the subject by heart, line by line, and just write it in the exam. So I am believer of you understand the subject and write the way what you have understood in the exam. So that's the reason I could never be able to score very good marks even in colleges, and you will not believe it. While exams were there, typically in engineering we start to around 2-3 months before the exam. We start doing detailed study, and I used to also teach my classmates on a specific topic, and but let us say I taught a guy on a specific problem. So the guy will go and write that, solve that problem in the exam correctly, and I go there and make some silly mistakes and come back on the same question. So that kind of experience was there. I used to make a lot of silly mistakes in the exams, and which also did not help me get the correct score or marks. Finally, after the great 4 years, which is rememberable even today, we used to have get together with our college classmates and enjoy a lot and remember those 4 years. But the real life starts when you pass out of college. When I passed out in 1991, so there was no job apart from a couple of government jobs. Private jobs were very limited, and the most turning point was I could qualify for one of the exam, which was a white color and best exam. We call it SAIL Authority, Steel Authority of India Limited, and that is a public sector undertaking, and they have got around 6-7 steel plants across India. And as a management engineer, management trainee, they used to take. I could qualify in the written, and the worst part is when I went for interview, they rejected me for my eligibility. So overall, my semester percentage were good, but they said we will take only for last semester, and the last semester or last 4 semesters, and the last 4 semesters some percentage were not there, which was meeting the requirement, and I just came out with heartbroken. You will not imagine that I had a great job where my career would have been completely set. Throughout the life, I could have retired from SAIL after joining, and still my lot of classmates are there in SAIL enjoying their life. And I could not even sit for the interview. Then I came, and I did not lose heart. Then I joined a private company in construction industry and joined as site engineer, where they used to build cold handling plants. So there are a lot of modernization was going on, automation of cold handling plant. So I was posted as site engineer for electrical job. So there also, it was a first job for me, but I could able to bring lot of innovative ideas in terms of cable routings, cable terminations. It gave a lot of exposure on the practical job, how you route, how this automation works, how these control drawings and electrical drawings. So once you come out of the college and you get into the practical, there is a huge difference between what you are taught in the college and what actually you are applying your knowledge in the field. So it was a great exposure. I worked there for 2 years. But again, somewhere it was hitting in my mind that this is not something I'm going to be happy for. So I wanted a bigger field or bigger exposure to enhance my career. And then I shifted from Rourkela to Delhi in 1993. And I had something in my mind, वो कीड़ा बोलते हैं ना, कीड़ा in my mind that, I want to do something in the sales itself. I want to join the sales organization and drive my career up. So I joined a company. They used to sell, I don't know if electrical people are there, they will understand, serial motor starter. So this is one type of motor, and then you need to have a starter to start that motor. Otherwise, it can't start. So we used to sell that, and after 1 month, I realized what I am doing and what is the outcome which is coming, and the impression what I was getting was completely different. So in 1 month, I said I cannot do this, and then I resigned and came out. I sat for 1 month without job, and then got a job in again electrical industry, EP electrical projects, and I joined as a project engineer. So there I got exposure on a lot of internal, external infrastructure projects, and it was a great going. At the same time, that's what I said, life is like serial, and everything you don't control. There are master controllers sitting at the back, and they sometimes controls you or gives you the guidance or gives you the opportunity to catch up at some point of time. And I had a great experience or exposure on the infrastructure side of it from 91 to 94. In 95, I got this opportunity to change my domain. So at the time, structured cabling was on the top requirements because IT was getting commercialized, where organizations were trying to use IT as a part of business automation, business process automation. So terminal-based IT setup were used to be there, Unix machines and all. And then it got LAN-based. So earlier it started with Ethernet, coax cable, and then it got into the UTP cablings and all. So that was the age. Then I got this opportunity to get into the networking field. So typically on the IT side of it, I got trained about this subject and then got into it. I worked for the organization for 2 years and completed, you will not believe, in 200 projects across India. And at the time, you can imagine if I've done 200 projects across India in 2 years, the kind of the travel, the kind of time, and the kind of management skills you learn out of the entire journey, it was excellent. That made me a real tough guy as part of 2 years. And also it gave me a great visibility in the industry. So you can imagine from an introvert guy, I was trying to improve and trying to become a balanced guy. I'm still not an extrovert guy, but now I was on the way to become a kind of a balanced guy in communication process. Then I got a break again. God has given me a platform where I got opportunity in IBM India to join, and I joined there as a project manager, managing networking project, which I used to do there in that another organization. Within 3 months or 6 months, as I had infrastructure experience in the past, that gave me a break because IBM at the time started doing or data center projects. So in 1997, data centers were not so popular. However, IBM used to sell mainframes, AS400s, highly expensive servers to their customers. And environmental conditions was something which was very, very well defined and they have to provide. And that's what we started building of small server rooms. And then IBM took me into the data center, and there was no specialized training at the time on the data center, but I learned everything on the field. And then we started data center business in IBM. India, it was globally available as a site and connectivity business. And then I got multidimensional exposure and experience in, apart from networking, I got experience. I started configuring routers, switches. I got managing into the IT infrastructure projects, data center projects, multi-location LAN WAN projects. So huge exposure. Then after coming into the data center, the organization asked me, you are the expert, you also do pre-sales. Then I started selling data center to the market. Okay. I became data center solution architect. I was doing a technical delivery assurance. I was solution architect for India in IBM. Doing all the solution used to come through me. So in IBM, I worked for around 11 years. It was a big time, big exposure, and IBM has really they have seasoned me, and they have taught me how to work in corporate world, how to work in constant environment. What are the different processes, business processes, which has to be in the organization. So once you have got all this exposure, then and knowledge, then every organization is not IBM, right? So you can create IBM kind of company, or you can add value to other organization, becoming closer to IBM or even better than IBM by applying your knowledge or experience, whatever you have learned there. So IBM, after 10, 11 years, I was hitting the ceiling because I was not getting the headroom which I wanted to. I was doing the same job for multiple years. And I thought, now this is not the right time. I mean, thing to stay because my career become stagnant. Then I decided to change. And fortunately, I got a break. So when I got the break, I got head for data center because I had data center experience. There was some projects which was being done in Africa. So I joined 3i Infotech, and they hired me to deliver that project and manage that as a business P&L. So you can imagine, from a project manager in IBM, then I'm becoming a vice president and trying to manage a business. So, and within 6 months, that organization has gave me responsibility of managing the entire managed IT services portfolio or business for Middle East and Africa region. So I had only few people and few shared resources in India. I made a plan and we created a great penetration in Africa. So from security consulting, IOSO consulting, SCA consulting, to data center consulting, to business continuity, DR, IT services, your strategic outsourcing, all kind of projects I could able to get in 2 years, and I really transformed that organization, 3i Infotech, in 2 years to the great extent. I wanted to continue, but due to my personal reasons, because my family was in Dubai and we could not able to shift to Dubai, I decided to come back to India. And then I joined again the same another company called Religate Technologies, where I headed complete managed IT services for the entire globe. So we were delivering IT services across the globe, in US, Europe, Africa, India. I had around 760 people team which I used to manage, and around 100 crores of business I used to generate and manage that particular P&L. So that gave me a real visibility of business. So in IBM, I was a technocrat. I was a project manager. When I moved out, so if you see the entire career graph, and at each and every points where I changed, it gave me a boost. It gave me a change in my career. And the specific change where initial till IBM, it was more to do with the domain expertise and opportunity to change. I used the IBM platform to launch myself, present myself as a great professional across the industry, where I could able to get a bigger portfolio or profile which I could able to get. And once I got that profile, I need to sustain that, which is very, very important. It is not like you are jumping. If you jump, you have to be there in the sky, otherwise you'll fall and break your legs. So that was the time I worked hard, and I could able to make my skill sets at par with that role requirement, and I could able to meet and deliver the results what organizations was expecting from me. So from technocrat or leader or business leader, where you doesn't have to look at only the technical aspect of it, you have to look at business aspect, sales, your KPIs, your people, their satisfaction, your internal process alignment, politics, so on and so forth. There are huge things which you have to manage. And fortunately, by grace of God and my confidence, we used to manage and sold through. Then I got opportunity in Schneider. So that was another break where Schneider is an OEM. So I worked with IBM technology company and services company, 3i software company and services company, Religare, again services company, and then I came to OEM. So I wanted to, so OEM, Schneider was a great product company, and even today, but they had a vision of really getting into the data center industry because they acquired a lot of companies, product companies, and they wanted to create a data center portfolio and go to the market and position the overall portfolio and value which customer would realize and start taking it instead of you selling bits and pieces. That's what the role and task which was given to me, to create that portfolio and also create what are the other value additions which we can be able to create and then deliver to customer. And that's how in 1 year I had around 100 people team in Schneider, and you can understand the entire team was having a product mindset. It is not easy to change people mindset and culture. If somebody's strength is selling product, he will sell product. Like my strength is selling services, it is very difficult to sell product. I learned how to sell product also in Schneider, right? How to do that. But at the same time, I taught my team to how to sell services, how to sell solution. It took 1 year, and I used to do everything for my team myself for 1 year, just to enable my team to their job. And once they started doing the job, then I started focusing on other things, other value added services, what I can bring on Schneider's table. And that's what we started, data center lifecycle services. It is pure service where in Schneider world or in data center industry, nobody pays for consultancy, for data center consultancy. Even in India, nobody used to pay. And then I started that, and I started charging customer for data center consultancy. And customers started paying for it, which earlier Schneider used to do free of cost because their product were getting sold. So that culture we drove, and there is a scientific way also. There is a Darwin theory that it is not the strongest or intelligent who survives on the planet, but it is the being which is more adaptable to change. So if you see people more successful, more happier in the industry, and if you do an analysis, you will find most of those people were more adaptable to change. If you are adaptable to change, then it becomes much easier for you to drive the things what you would like to do in that specific environment. And change is not something which is impossible. So it is a 21 days process where you want to change a habit, you continue to follow or practice a changed habit for 21 days, and that habit will become a normal habit for you. That I have personally practiced and personally has realized that it works. So if it has worked for me and worked for a lot more many, my team, so I expect this should work for all. So in Schneider, I was there for around 6 years. Great experience, great learning, great KPIs. There I learned the learning process. So learning is not an educational process. Normally, that is one of the myths which I also realized, and I would like to share with all of you. We spend 90% of our efforts in educating ourselves or gaining knowledge about some topic. However, we don't spend time or efforts in exposure and experience. So when you talk about the learning cycle consists of 3 stages. The first stage or entry stage is your education, where you get through classroom, online or learning. Second stage is exposure. So whatever knowledge you have gained, if you are not able to apply that knowledge, or you are not getting exposure to apply that knowledge, then you will forget that after some time, and it becomes a wastage for you. So you must get a right exposure. You get, or your organization give, or your institutes give, to apply that knowledge and gain the experience. So once you apply the knowledge, you gain experience. And during that experience, you realize it may be a positive experience, it may be a negative experience. If it is a positive experience, so you record it and then move ahead accordingly. If you have got negative experience, you again learn from it what you should not do and what you should do. So, and that's how once you go through these 3 stages, then actually you get experienced and your competency gets enhanced. And that was the process we used to follow in Schneider. 3E process we used to call. And it was very, very interesting. And that's the reason I still, even not in Schneider, but I follow that process of learning. So in Schneider, whatever I could able to do, deliver the business. Then I got this opportunity from Uptime. And there is, when we talk about data center, so there is no other organization in the world who has got thought leadership like Uptime. And I had a dream from the beginning itself when I joined data center industry to get something or work for that kind of organization. And there, when I got this opportunity, it was a kind of lifetime opportunity, and I didn't think again and joined this company. I have been here for the last 4 years. During this time, I came to know Masood, Dhaka, and a lot of people in Dhaka, nice people. We lot of celebration, a great time we had uh, in Dhaka. In Uptime also, it's not only the technical, we have to look at business aspects of it, but what is helping me? What is helping me is the experience, what I have gone through in my life in last, I mean, when I born and then up to this stage, because this is human learning process. I mean, this tells me to explain you machine learning. Machine learning is nothing but it is inspired by how human learns across his lifespan and apply. And that's how now people are trying to train machine to make it work or make it behave like human. Obviously, they cannot behave like human till now, whatever the discoveries which we have done. But still, they follow the same principle. When a child is born, his mind and soul is complete, blank. And then based on what he sees in the environment, what is taught by the parents or the environment, he starts recording in his mind, in his database, and his thought process, his decisions in life is guided by his learning, whatever he has got in his lifetime. So it has got a big impact of environment where you are brought up, where you get exposure on, which impacts a lot what I felt or what I experienced for. So if you talk about in life, what I could see as a takeaway for me, or which I would like to share with you, which you should be able to follow, is first is positive attitude. Very, very important. People, situations are never under anybody's control, our control. We don't control situations, but if we control our actions to respond to the situation. So if we have got positive mindset, then we can get over the situation and come out. This I have realized, and this comes through patience, the experience, and the seasoning effect, what you get through in life, which is very, very important. Second thing, what I uh, talk about is, or what I have learned is influential leadership. Gone are the days where dictatorial leadership used to work. Dictatorial leadership works in kingdoms, not in democratic environment. And in the today's world, nobody bothers about you, who you are. You may be the boss, but you are paid for what you work for the company, and your subordinates are paid for what he does for the company. Nobody does favors to anybody. However, it is very, very important to create that bond or that fabric. And that fabric is created by influential leadership, heart to heart connect. It is not only just professional connect, but sensible connect with your team members works a lot. And that's what I have been able to be successful as a part of the leader. Another thing what I would like to bring to your notice is smart work. This also I have learned in life by hard lessons. I have worked like donkeys for years in different part of my career, but I also realized the hard work only doesn't pay. Smart work pay. So smart work is not about doing politics or taking credit of somebody else's. Smart work is all about doing the right thing in the right direction with the right tools and right methodologies. So if you understand it, you need to understand the subject, use the right tool, use the right process and methodology, and nobody can stop you achieving your goal. So you have to work around. Maybe one methodology doesn't work, one tool doesn't work. You have to innovate and develop the other tool which works for you. So smart work is very, very important. And there is a lot of confusion between people get confused on the smart work with the office politics and corporate politics. Smart work, nothing to do with the politics. It has to do with how you do your work. Okay, and how prepared you are to do the particular work. Another thing, what I believe, this is my personal belief, is obviously 100% of the things are not under our control. It's like, I just give example. We have got a laptop on which we are conducting this Zoom, but Zoom server is lying in US, which is enabling us to conduct this Zoom. And we are doing our job. We are just communicating ourselves. However, the entire guidance and the processing is done by the Zoom server. Similarly, in our life, we have certain things in our control, what we do based on situation. However, there are certain percentage, it may be small. I am not able to say what percentage, but my experience say 90% of the things what you do, you achieve. 10% of the things are something which is beyond your control, like Zoom server. If they expect us to stop it, then you can't do anything. So that 10%, how do you influence that 10% to your side depends on the well wishes of yours. So how do you get well wishes of yours? So well wishes of yours you get by spreading the happiness, spreading the good deeds for the people. So if people जो बोलते हैं ना, if somebody किसी और के लिए दुआ करते हैं, if you pray for yourself, you get your, let us say, chances of getting the prayer heard is, let us say, 1%. If somebody else prays for you, the chances are 99%. It works in reverse direction. There is no scientific method of it. It is my belief or my experience what taught about it. So the luck factor, what is there, you get it through the well wishes from others. And then if you have got 100%, so nothing can stop you in achieving your goal, achieving your happiness and objective across. And happiness is not all about profession. Happiness is different. And if happiness and professions get aligned, that is the best thing in the world. Where it is like you हिंदी में क्या बोलते हैं? You become, it's kind of wisdom you get. Absolutely. So it doesn't touch you from that perspective. So these are the few things I wanted to share with you as my takeaway of life. And I hope this journey, what I explained, and when I look at my life behind, I feel really rejuvenated that, I had a great time and I will have a great time further, whatever life I live, with the grace of God and with whatever deeds I would like to do going forward. So with this, thank you very much, Masood, and all the people on the call who are listening to my journey, and hope this has been fruitful, interesting, inspiring, and I'm open for any question answer if anybody has got to share. Thank you.
Yeah, NK, thank you very much. Actually, I'm impressed and I'm speechless. So I don't have any speech to say anything. So you have given very extended, knowledge sharing session. So now I will request our students or our team, MyCreative teams, to if they have any questions they can ask. So it's a very what I am telling that it's a very good knowledge sharing session. It's a platform, so you can ask anything to him, so that you can learn from him. Learn from the professional. He is a true professional, so learn from the professional.
And whatever haircut you see is all COVID haircut. COVID style haircut.
Yes. Yeah, please ask. Alif, please ask.
Hi, this is Shushmita.
I see.
Yes, yes, please.
It was a very inspiring session today, and it is really honoring to have you here today with our motivational session. So what I want to ask is not actually a question, but I want to ask you to tell everyone how important it is to stay motivated, because as you were going through your life story, you failed a lot of times, but you never lose your motivation.
Right.
Because there are a lot of people even in this team that if they fail to do something, even if they are just beginner or started something and failed, they will lose their hope and stop moving forward in life.
Thank you very much, Susmita. I think motivation is something which is the energy, which gives the energy to the people to move forward. And you can imagine, if you don't have energy, if body doesn't have energy, then it doesn't have any meaning. So motivation is something which has to be always there. And I will give you an example. There was a poem, Hindi poem by Harivansh Rai Bachchan, where it inspired me so much. If you guys understand Hindi, you can download that through the Google and you will have it. कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. Meaning, if you try, you will never get defeated. And this poem, I put it on, it is still there on my desk. And when I come on my desk and see on the wall, I always see that poem. कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. And it is a complete poem, very, very inspiring, very, very inspiring. You can go, and if sometime you feel uh, demotivated, so that is something which you get motivated from. It gave you the example, चीटी दाना लेके 100 बार पिसती है, पर हर बार उसकी कोशिश खाली नहीं जाती. It is a complete poem, very, very inspiring. And because if you are focused to your goal, and nowadays I will give you example, a lot of hirings happening in the corporates, where the people, they are hiring to see that whether he have failed in the life or not. If somebody has not failed in the life, he has not experienced the life, and he may not be so innovative. The guy who can fail, who fails in life and try to struggle and fight back, he is the real leader, and he is able to survive and find a different way to survive, and he will have ability. So failure is not the end of the session. Failure is something which gives you opportunity to learn, and that's what I look at.
Thank you so much.
Any other? You are free to ask any silly questions, no problem. So as much as silly you are, because we always encourage, when we do a brainstorming session, we never say that we don't ask these questions. You can ask as silly question as possible, because one silly question may have a lot of innovative ideas which somebody else may not catch up. And when you realize that this silly is something great, then I always have respect for any idea. It may be a silly one.
So anyone want to ask any question to him?
No problem. With no questions, then
Then thank you very much, NK, for joining with us. It was indeed, again, thank you, and
5 people or 2 people or even 1 people, life changes due to whatever my experience. I would be really honored. I would be really proud on myself that I have been able to share something which helps somebody else. So thank you very much, Masood, Susmita, Alif, and all the entire audience who are there on this call. Have a great day and have a great time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for your valuable time. You know, it's a really nice, motivated speech. Truly, I'm actually astonished to hear all the stories from you. Like, I know we have we get some pause in life, some obstacles around surrounding here when we start the journey, but somehow you manage to, you know, overcome all the obstacles, and now you are a position, you know, everyone talks about.
Right.
So it's a great pleasure. Truly, I'm honored. Seriously.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your words. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay
Sure.
blessed.